Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Alaska Seminar Series. My name is Valerie Simic-Bailey, and I run the travel blog Valerie of Elias and the YouTube channel of the same name. I'm here to help you plan the ultimate Alaskan adventure in 2026 or beyond. And if you're watching this video, you are curious about the town of Wrangell, not to be confused with Wrangell-St. Elias. I'm sure we will talk about that at some point today. This seminar series is something that I've done for several years here on YouTube. I also now share it on the Destination Alaska podcast, so maybe you're listening to the audio-only version. And the idea behind the series is to give you the most up-to-date information about visiting different Alaskan destinations. That includes evergreen information like things to do, where to stay, where to eat, but also specific information you might need to know for 2026. So this is the 2026 edition. Wrangell is brand new to the series this year, which I'm very excited about because I've been to Wrangell 3 times and I love this small Alaskan community. And if you're here, you're going to learn a ton of helpful information. If while you're listening or watching, you have questions, there are 2 ways to get your questions answered. On YouTube, the easiest way for sure is just to go below the video and leave it as a comment. I monitor those comments all year long, so I will get you an answer. And if I don't know it, I can reach out to the team in Wrangell and get an answer for you. And if you're listening to the audio only version, you can either go over to YouTube and leave your comment there, or reach out on social media. And I'm sure we will cover the social media handles at the end. That's usually where we kind of wrap up the presentation. So we'll make sure you get all that social media information so that you can ask the questions that you might have. But with that said, I'm going to get myself out of the way and I'm going to turn it over to Jill and JR. They're both in Wrangell and they're going to teach us all about what you need to know to visit. So JR, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you very much for that introduction, Valerie. And yeah, welcome to Wrangell, Alaska. So not to be confused with Wrangell-St. Elias, as Valerie stated earlier. That one is pretty much like more of a national park further north in Alaska. What we are is the official title is the city and borough of Wrangell. We rest along Wrangell Island up in the northern part of the island. And we pretty much like pride ourselves on Alaska's best kept secret just because many people will probably never heard of the town of Wrangell in their whole lives. Even fewer probably have ever been to us, whether they gone to like Juneau or Petersburg or Ketchikan, they would probably have never went to Wrangell before. So this will probably be completely new to everyone. And as for myself, I am J.R. Meek. I am the new marketing and community development coordinator with Travel Wrangell. And I just started this year, so this has been my first summer season, be my first full winter season, and then I'm excited to get the word out to Wrangell going into 2026. And joined by me today is longtime Wrangell local and active community member who's also serving as commissioner for Planning and Zoning and Economic Development Board, Jill.
Hi, yeah, so I'm Jillian, and I have been a longtime Wrangell resident. Took a little bit of a break after high school graduation and then moved home in 2013. So I have all kinds of great Wrangell information for everyone. So excited to be a part of the program today. Thank you.
All right, and so for our next slide, I'll go into just some general quick facts that just to get us really wrapped up before I really dive deep into Wrangell and our vast, pretty much recreational activities. So just a little bit of quick facts, just because most people probably never heard of it. Along this map of the United States, where the state of Alaska is, we're really tucked right in the southeast border, pretty much really close to Canada. It's kind of where we're really at. And it's kind of inside the inside passage of Southeast Alaska. So where Juneau, Petersburg, Ketchikan is, we're kind of settled right in the middle between those two. And fun fact, the locals here actually call it the Milk Run. And that's usually a reference to the ship flight route to Southeast Alaskan towns like here, Wrangell, Juneau, Petersburg, Ketchikan. And it's still the route active today. Those 4 towns are still very crucial for flight routes. And another two fun little facts is that the town of Wrangell itself on the Wrangell Island only covers less than 2% of the whole island. So that whole residential section in the north side is the town. And pretty much 98% of it is the Tongass National Forest. So while it's wonderful for recreational activities, we are limited in economic development. So we have to be very creative in how we want to grow economically for the town. And the last little tidbit that I want to really address for independent travelers who have never heard of it is that there are no roads to Wrangell. It is only accessible by boat or plane. So unfortunately, we won't be able to accommodate for like road trips up to Wrangell because we are kind of like in a separate island, but you can still get here to Wrangell. And for our next slide is the number one question that I've been asked by visitors who came here by cruise ships is that what could you really do in Wrangell? And pretty much in our next slide is that there is actually a plethora of activities that you can do. A lot of these iconic locations and activities, we are pretty much what we would classify as a close to remote destination for independent travelers. While you can come here and really have like that remote feeling, pretty much like really away from civilization, but not quite yet to that extent because you're still close to amenities. We still have like grocery stores. We still have like restaurants and gift shops. That way you can still get your like necessities and probably even get like a little gift with Wrangell back with you when you return home. And speaking on iconic locations, it is impossible to do them all in one day. So we usually recommend at least like 6 days if you want to do like the full list. Like you want to go to Glaciers, Stikine River, Anan, like those are going to be about like 4 or 6 hours each. So that's kind of why I say it's impossible to do them all. It's just because you have to, if you only had one day, you have to pick and choose. But if you had 6 days, that gives you plenty of time to really explore not just the town of Wrangell, but the area surrounding it. And yeah, some of these locations, just like the town, is only accessible by boat or float plane. We do have air charters, and we do have tour operators that can like offer these tours up into these areas, and fishing charters as well if you're really into fishing. And there we have like a full active list of operators in our business directory on the website. So if you're really wanting to sign up for a tourist, make sure you check out our business directory to see who's currently active for 2026. And in our next slide, I just want to highlight pretty much like a very beautiful destination. Like this photo also like it does justice to it, but it's really a beautiful place to like really experience it. The Stikine River. Now, this is an interesting word, Stikine, because it means great river in Tlingit. And it's kind of why it's pronounced and spelled that way, is because it is a Tlingit origination word. And the Stikine River Delta flats stretch over like 27,200 acres. And that can actually lead into Canada. So that little border line in the inside passage, you can actually cross into Canada through this river itself. There's actually some tour operators that can offer like tours into Telegraph Creek in British Columbia. And some people have actually taken up on that and did like a canoe adventure, pretty much like a 2-day canoe kayaking like down the river and back into Wrangell. So it's really great recreational opportunity to do that. And they also have like canoes, kayaks, and rafts available for leisurely exploration from tour operators. And jet boat operators, they actually do like access into the river's lakes. It can do like side waters, the glaciers, and allows visitors to really explore the heart of this landscape. Now, for our next slide is Lake Kant and Shakes Glacier. So this is going to be further inside the north of Stikine River. And Lake Kant and Shakes, well, I'll start with Lake Kant first. It is kind of the southernmost tidewater glacier in North America. And it's kind of famous for its dramatic halving displays. You probably might have seen like photos online of people like very crystal blue clear glaciers that is just kind of like floating around, just chunks on the water. That's kind of part of Lake Kant. And Shakes Glacier is kind of more of a flat-ish area far back. And it kind of sits in the Stikine Lake Kant wilderness of Shakes Glacier. And it really offers like that very beautiful remote scenery that's kind of far separated from the island. And both are just like really accessible by charterboard, or if you want to do flight seeing, some flight charters actually do kind of like an overhead flight, and you'd be able to see it from above ground. It's like a very beautiful sight. And it really is among Wrangell's most iconic natural landmarks. But speaking of iconic landmarks, our next one is going to be on the Anan Wildlife Observatory. This kind of sits about 30 miles south of Wrangell and is one of the most sought after bear viewing sites in the world. For the ultimate bear viewing experience, I usually recommend for independent travelers to come to Wrangell probably from around July 5th to August 25th. The reason being is because that is where hundreds of black and brown bears converge to feed on the spawning salmon. So as you can see on the left is black bear that's capturing that salmon during the height of summer season. And then on the right is also brown bear. So very rarely do we get to see these two types of bears actually converge together to feed. It's a very rare sight, but it's one we're very proud of. The only caveat to this location is that there is a visitor limitation during peak season. So I will say just to contact one of Wrangell's tour operators or the National Tongass Forest Service for more information about permitting and just availability for the day. And so for the next slide, I want to bring up is, of course, fishing. But I would say fishing is definitely one of the most decorative activities here, just because people here in Wrangell love to fish. Locals, visitors, fishing is definitely like a very highlight activity here. And some of the fishing that is offered is, well, salmon, as I brought up earlier, but we also have like halibut and rockfish. Or did I say that? Yeah, rockfish, kind of like making it a top destination for anglers. And we do, kind of like as I specified before, we do have local charters that can offer like some of that expertise, the gear, and even like fish processing support if a visitor just wants to come in and do some fishing along the Wrangell waters. So, and I think bears are a little bit limited on this, but crabbing is also another very huge activity to do in Wrangell. Many of our crabbers here, kind of like even right now, are going out there and fishing for crabs. And it's definitely like a lot of like delicious crabs, I will say. And Jill, correct me if I'm wrong, it's right now we're in like snow crab time.
I'm not quite sure on the season, but I do know that folks are out there harvesting right now, and there will be more opportunities throughout the spring months as well.
Yes, and just like Elon Fishing, they do like a scrap fish derbying periodically throughout the year. So if you want to get into like some competition, you got some here in Wrangell. But in our next slide, I also wanted to highlight about our hiking and camping. This picture right here is from the Mount Dewey overlook. That gives you a very beautiful picture of the town of Wrangell and the Somovia Strait. So really want like a beautiful site to go to. And it's also very easy and accessible. It took me about 30-40 minutes just to do the entire trail to get to that outlook. So it's like if you just want like a short, easy hike, I definitely recommend it. And we do offer like a lot more trails, and then there's also camping, campsites, and shelters. And there's a huge plethora of that. And they can really range from Mount Dewey, which is easy, or to like more challenging alpine routes. So if you want something more challenging, maybe Kunk Lake Trail, or if you just want to do like see the Rainbow Falls, we have World Rainbow Falls Trail, but they're all very well maintained. Parks and Rec have been very crucial in maintaining that, and the Forest Service have been doing like really great work on making sure that they're accessible, making sure that the paths are clear, and also like just no debris cluttering the way. So I will say it's like big props to them for just making sure these trails are well maintained, and that way everyone can still access them all year round. And in our next slide will be our cabin area. So Wrangell has over 20 U.S. Forest Service cabins. I think probably about 23 in total. Many are like located in very remote areas, probably even like different islands as well. And same as the trails, they are well maintained by the Forest Service. And if you do want to book a cabin, just go on recreation.gov for available options. And you can book them. I believe you can book them all year round. So if you just want to come in during October for a cabin trip, or if you want to come during July, just check out recreation.gov for available listings, and you'll be able to get your close to remote experience with Wrangell. In our next slide, and this one is going to like really surprise people, is that we do have a golf course, the Muskeg Meadows Golf Course. It is a USGA regulation 9-hole golf course in a rainforest setting, about 5,900 yards, and they do offer like a par 72 championships on certain occasions. And they do regularly host like a tournaments throughout the summer season. So if you do want to get in on like a tournament, or if you just want to come there and play for fun, definitely check out the Muskeg Meadows website just for more information, or to just like just to see what else they offer, because they also like combine golf and disc golf. And then just like in the surrounding views, you get to see like a beautiful view of the mountains, the rainforest, and wildlife sightings are very common. Like bald eagles. I actually got to see like a bald eagle that was nesting on top of the tree last summer, and that was really cool. Or if you just want to see some migrating birds, pretty much like ravens. Actually, they have like a golf stealing raven rule, where if a raven like steals your golf ball, you pretty much get to refund that for free if you have a witness. Just a big disclaimer. And maybe even an occasional black bear if you're lucky. But in our next slide, and this will probably wrap up our iconic locations, is the Mariners Memorial. And this is like a very sacred site to Wrangell, because this memorial honors Wrangell's maritime heritage and the people who were lost at sea. And they erected this memorial in dedication to their memory and honor their legacy. And it is just a quiet, reflective space that's just overlooking Heritage Harbor and Somovia Strait. So, and we do kind of like a blessing of the sea every beginning of the summer season. So we should have one for 2026 if people want to come in and honor our mariners. And so with that, Jill, I'm going ahead and let you cover the topic for our next slide, Native culture and heritage.
All right. So in this area, we are connected with the Tlingit people, and they have been here since time immemorial. So we have a very strong sense of Native culture and pride in our community. Our local Wrangell Cooperative Association is our local tribal government, and they have the past 20 or so years been working on bringing more cultural activities and events to town, and different classes for folks to take, mainly tribal members. But with that, we have several master carvers that are in town, and they have been carving totems, and we were able to raise, I believe it was 5 this last summer, and people were able to take part in raising those totems in town. And they tell different stories and histories of the Tlingit people that are from this area, at the mouth of the Stikine River, as you heard earlier. And it's just a very rich and vibrant place where the Tlingit people decided to, of this area, decided to stay and maintain their lives. And we have a wide variety of people that come to Wrangell to witness that culture and be a part of it, and hopefully help maintain that for many more generations to come. So very exciting times to be in Wrangell. If you are interested in Indigenous peoples, if you are interested in learning about the Tlingit culture, the people of this area, we have the cultural center where the wood carving, we call it the wood carving shed, which doesn't really do it any justice, but the cultural center has master carvers where you can walk by and witness that happening. You can ask questions. We have the Wrangell Nolan Center that holds our museum, which has a wide variety of Wrangell's history. As many know, we've had several different flags flying in Wrangell through the different generations, and our museum is able to really display those different eras of Wrangell throughout the centuries. So it's a pretty special time to be in Wrangell and witnessing all of this revitalization of Tlingit culture and language happening at this time. So really exciting. So this is Shakes Island and Tribal House. This is where Chief Shakes long ago would live and host his family and visitors. And now this area is a place of deep respect and a place where people should um, be quiet and take in what they're witnessing. And on some occasions, you'll be able to actually go inside the longhouse and view from in there and listen to stories and singing and take witness of that. And it's a very unique experience, I will say that. And the two poles in the front are brand new, and then the pole in the very back that you see behind Chief Shakes is brand new as well. And then this is a replica house, of course. Probably 15, 20 years ago, Chief Shakes' house was redone, and there was a big celebration for that. And I was able to witness that moment. And people were singing and drumming and did a huge parade through town, and you could just feel the drumming coming up through the streets, and it was like thunderous. And so when you're able to walk in this area and take in the beauty of it is just, again, another special aspect of Wrangell, where you're just kind of walking in this modern town, and then all of a sudden you see this beautiful site that is Chief Shakes Tribal House. Totem Park is, again, smack dab middle of downtown Wrangell, and you will be able to see older totems and then these newer ones that you see with the strap around it, and the several different gentlemen with their button vests on, getting ready to make sure that the new pole is secured tightly to the back pole that's holding it all together. And this is just another great example of Tlingit culture and heritage being on full display in Wrangell. This is a new pole that was done by master carver TJ Young, and then some of Wrangell's local apprentices as well. So this is another area that you're able to um, see just in the middle of downtown, and then have a nice, easy trail walk through. So here's the wood carving shed. This is the cultural center. This is in the middle of downtown. And you can see the pole that's lying down. We had just saw that in the slide before, being secured. So this is some of the newly erected totems in Wrangell. We can see the killer whale pole to the left, the top of it there, Keet. That's the Tlingit word for killer whales, for orcas. And again, this is just another area where you're going to be able to walk through and watch master carvers at work and apprentices at work, and hear about the tools that they're using, the adzes to get away at that tough cedar bark, and just the different steps that it takes to go from a tree to a log to a beautiful totem. This is the Wrangell Museum, and you will have a variety of Tlingit culture. You'll have a little bit of Russian history in there. You'll have a little bit of U.S. history, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but probably BC as well. We've had quite a few different flags flying in Wrangell over the centuries, but again, our Nolan Center is right downtown, so ease of access in Wrangell, and a beautiful curated museum. I've heard nothing but 5-star reviews from anyone that's walked through, and there is a variety of textures of different furs. There's buttons for audio. If you have vision problems, you can touch, you can hear, and it's just a really beautifully put together museum. So anyone that comes to Wrangell, that's one of my first recommendations, is definitely get to the museum. Petroglyph Beach. So this ties in with our Tlingit culture. This is another spot in Wrangell that's just kind of in the middle of town. located about a half mile from town. You can walk there, have one of the tour operators offer up a tour with a little bit more background and history, but you're able to just access this beach whenever you like. Obviously, low tide is probably a better time. And at the viewing platform, there's some replica petroglyphs. If people want to do rubbings on the replicas, they can do that or actually touch them. Otherwise, when you're on the beach, it's asked that people just view the petroglyphs. You don't ever want to rub them or bring the sand away from them or try to dig them out. As the tides come and go, petroglyphs are hidden and then come to light again. And that's just one of the unique parts of this destination at Petroglyph Beach, is that you get to get right up and personal with the petroglyphs in hopes that you're not touching and doing all that. But this is a pretty special place. There's not many places in Alaska. I think this is probably one of the only ones where you can actually view petroglyphs like this. It's not really known, 100% fact what any of the images mean or what they represent. But it is likely that it is, Tlingit people either marking territories or saying, hey, this is a spot of abundance. There's killer whale. I shouldn't say that, but there's images that look, hey, that could be a whale or that could be a fish. Obviously this is a person's face, different things like that. So again, that's another definite spot of interest that's ease of access for people. So Wrangell's Front Street and local life. Our Front Street is very unique compared to other touristy towns. Wrangell is 100% locally owned and operated by locals. So when you make a purchase in our community, you are helping out extracurricular activities with our local youth. You are helping to donate to nonprofit organizations in town, Girl Scouts, the AAU basketball teams, all of the fun that Wrangell depends on to get us through those dark winter days, and those extracurricular activities for youth and nonprofits in town really depend on donations from our local businesses. So when you make a purchase in our town, you're doing more than buying a cute little trinket for your friend. You're really helping out the local economy, and so that is another great aspect of Wrangell, is that this is a working town and that people live here all year round, and you're really experiencing a true Southeast Alaska town. It's not the Disney experience. It really is a working town. And I know JR probably wants me to stop talking, but I'm going to keep going. So getting to Wrangell is actually pretty easy. We're really fortunate to have Alaska Airlines flying into our port, and they do their Boeing 737. So it is a large jet that flies in here twice a day. The AM and PM jet is what we dub that, and if you're trying to get here from Seattle, you can jump on Flight 65. 3 hours later, you're in Wrangell, Alaska. And then if you're trying to go north from here, you can get on Flight 64, and that'll take you on that milk run, and you can head on up all the way up into Anchorage. So I've had several guests last year that started their trip in Ketchikan, went to Wrangell, Petersburg, Juneau, Sitka, and then just kept on going up the line all the way up to Anchorage, and then jumped on a train up there. So we do have Alaska Airlines. We do have our Alaska Marine Highway system that you can jump on in Bellingham and cruise all the way through, all the way up to Haines, and then drive your vehicle up to Anchorage if you would like. And then we do have our independent vessels and cruise ships that come through. We have several tour operators that also run like a water taxi as well. So if you want to do island hopping, you can do that as well. And then our regular cruise lines too. I'll let you go, JR.
No worries. Yeah, I don't mind you taking up the difficult access point. But yeah, I'll go ahead and finish this off with the last few slides. And definitely one of the biggest touch points that I want to bring up, since we talked about independent vessels, is that we do have several harbors and services available for And then we also like welcome all types of mariners and vessel owners, especially because we also have the Marine Service Center. It's definitely like a very important aspect of our community because it also helps like vessels like maintain and keep them very independently owned. So it's definitely, if you want to get your vessel like repaired or touched up, definitely check out the Marine Service Center because they like the harbors, and the Marine Service Center offers like accessible, efficient vessel moorage and affordable rates. So that way you're not being charged too much just to get your vessel repaired. And they're very friendly staff, and they make sure that they keep the security uptight so that way your vessel is not only safe, but they're also like there just to help give you advice and tips on just like things you probably wouldn't have known about. So they're very friendly to work with. But for those who are offering services, these are skilled shipwrights and fabricators. They can definitely like work on your boat, and then you can just take the opportunity to just explore town and maybe even book a tour or two. Me, might as well, and then just that way, the fabricators can get to work, and then you get to do some exploration. Maybe you can get your own remote experience in Wrangell. But yes, and harbors are available for transient moorage. So if you do want to stop into town for any length of time, just hop onto the website. And this is actually a new website that we just launched with the Ports and Harbors. It is called www.wrangellportsandharbors.com. And if you just want to check out what's ports, harbors, and Marine Service Center, it's all the information is in within that website. It's easy, accessible, and you'll be able to just get online and even like access and download the forms if you need to. And then, yeah, so we'll go ahead and go into the next slide. And I just wanted to bring up Wander. So this is kind of like a very unique aspect of Travel Wrangell. This is a free interactive map to plan your trip. So this is just like the entire Wrangell Island and then all the activities that I've mentioned earlier, like the Stikine River, the Lake Shakes Glacier, the Anan Wildlife Observatory. So if you want to like click on these items just to check out like what's available, it'll also give you like direct links to go into either like a recreation, either to Travel Wrangell, the business's website, etc. That way you'll be able to like just click on it, go into there, and then just either book or find out more information on it. So definitely scan that QR code. And it's also available on the website too. So if you just want to go to Travel Wrangell website and click on that map, it gives you a full 3D overview of Wrangell. So what's new for 2026? We got several tons of festivals and events that's going to be coming up for Wrangell. Starting first to kick off our new year, my supervisor, Kay Thomas, and I are going to be going to the Seattle Travel and Adventure Show. So if you ever find yourself in Seattle and just want to chat with us and wanted to know more about Wrangell, feel free to stop by our booth and we'll be excited to see and just talk more about Wrangell. And then to kick off our first festival of the year is the Stikine River Birding Festival and Science Symposium. That is going to be cooperated with the Tongass National Forest Service. So it will kick off on April 26th to the 26th, April 22nd to the 26th. So be sure to check out the Wrangell website for a schedule of events. We also have some just ethical guidelines for you to check out and some bird links. But yeah, we're very excited to team up with the National Forest Service and deliver a festival. And then coming up right after that is our second annual Milk Run Music Festival. So this is actually a very unique festival. We actually had the first ever last year, and it was just like such a great event. It was held by Olivia Strano, who founded it and helped kickstart this festival for us. Never really had like this kind of like music festival before, but thankfully, it's coming back again next year, and hopefully it continues to be an annual event for Wrangell, not just for community, but for visitors who love music, who love some local music. Because I think they actually like announced like 4 bands that are going to be coming up in the lineup. So definitely check out their website, milkrunmusicfest.org, for more information. And definitely a huge highlight in that picture on the top right is definitely a reference. Is Wrangell, Alaska's 4th of July week-long celebration. Wrangell takes 4th of July very seriously. And when I say very seriously, we have thousands of people that will come to Wrangell just for this event. like pretty much like log rolling contests, log cutting contests, greasy pole climb, parade. We have the massive fireworks show just off of City Dock. Even KSTK did their own like wiener toss for 4th of July. It's a week-long community event, and if you love 4th of July, then Wrangell is definitely the place to be. And I definitely recommend for people to just come up here and really experience that. But we also have the 250th celebration of American independence, and Wrangell is going to have like our own little spin on this, and kind of a working title, but for right now, I'll call it the Great Alaskan Getaway. It's kind of like a spin on the Great American Road Trip that they're going to do in the lower 48. And this one is kind of more like an all-American baseball exhibit held at the Nolan Center. And this one is kind of like just celebrate Alaska's Field of Dreams, baseball in America's far north. So they're going to be hosting a major traveling exhibit. So I don't have like more details on it just yet. This is kind of like in the planning phase, but definitely keep an eye out. I think the Nolan Center will have something planned for that. And then following that is the Alaska Bear Fest. From August 6th to 9th is definitely like a celebration of Alaska's bears. And it's also kind of like another little science symposium. Like this year, we actually had a celebrity guest chef who did a full dinner and then did like olive tastings as well. And then we had like several guest speakers giving their insights pertaining to bears. And surprisingly enough, we actually had a WNBA legend Cheryl Swoops and her son come up for Wrangell. That was like a really special event. That was held by WCA, as Jill pointed out earlier, Bounty Back program. So that was a really unique experience. And next year is going to be on, at least tentatively, on early August. So make sure you check out their website, alaskabearfest.org, for more information. And finally, just to end it on this note, is that we also open invitation for any conventions and retreats who are on this recording to come out here and just like really get that remote getaway experience. And we're going to have like a new planning guide underway that'll have like a full list of details, directory, and what else you can expect when you do your retreat here. So be on the lookout for that. And in our final slide is our website information. You can scan the QR code to get you there, or just type in the link above, and we also just post regularly on Facebook and Instagram. So make sure you follow us there, and we'll keep you updated on what else you can expect in Wrangell, Alaska. And that does it on our hour end, Valerie.
Amazing. Thank you. So I never tell you guys this unless you've done it before, but I take notes too. Nice. So I need to get back up to Wrangell because I was watching and I was like, wait a second, when was I last in Wrangell? It was 2022. So I haven't seen any of the new totems. Chief Shake's house was still closed at that point. So most of my photos are out of date, which is not acceptable to me. So I'll be following up with you guys to talk about planning a trip up to Wrangell. I did want to, and also I'm like, ooh, maybe I should lead. Maybe I should lead a little group tour that like does the ferry from small community to small community, because a lot of people find Wrangell when they're looking to get off the beaten path. They're looking to escape the cruise crowds. They want to explore Southeast. They want to experience Tlingit culture, but they don't want to do the big ports. And that's one of the reasons that I point to Wrangell a lot, because it's really accessible. It's on the main ferry and airfare run, but it is not, it doesn't get the same number of cruise ships. It doesn't get the even same size of cruise ships. So, sorry. The other thing I was thinking of is that I have a funny story before we jump into Q&A, which is that I was flying up to Alaska this summer and I accidentally booked myself on the milk run. So if you are watching this, please be careful. If you see an option on Alaska Airlines that is from Seattle to Juneau to Anchorage, what they're not telling you is that you will be stopping a lot of places on the way. If you're up for that adventure, do it. Like what ended up happening is my flights got messed up and I couldn't do it. But when I called customer support, I was like, when I found out I was on the milk run, I was kind of excited because it's a thing. It's like a thing that aviation nerds like and that Alaskans get to do a lot. So anyway, just if you're booking your flights, just be aware of that. If it says Seattle, Juneau, Anchorage, it includes stops in Wrangell and Petersburg and Sitka.
All of them.
Yeah. So we had a couple questions. One of them you've already answered, so we're not going to go back through that, which is how to get to Wrangell. So that's great. I don't remember who asked that question. I deleted it while you guys were chatting because you covered the relevant information, which I actually thought you would. I would be shocked if you didn't share how to get there. Hopefully that person is watching and they will get the answer they're looking for. But what I would love to do, I often get questions that are things about the best things to do. And I know that it can be tough in the positions that you both hold in your community to like say what the best is. Also, there's a lot of bests for different people, so that's hard to choose too. So what I would love to do, and we can do a roundtable, I can throw mine in as well at the end, is if you had somebody who came to you and said, I only have a day in port, and what should I do? What would be the thing you started with for the like, average person who's going to be asking that question?
Yeah, so first I would say, okay, what time of the season is it? But if it was bear time, then I would definitely always suggest Anan, because nowhere are you going to get this up close experience with these bears in nature. And then also my second one would be a Stikine River tour, just because you are able to see so much beauty in one tour. So those are my two, the have tos.
What about you, JR?
Yeah, it's I agree with Jill. It just really depends on like the time of season that you really come up with. And yeah, it's just like if you're here for July, definitely Anan. If you're here for June, maybe just a trip up to Stikine. Or if you're here in April, maybe you want to go up to the Glaciers and get to really experience that. So it just like really depends on how you want to really spend your time. So there's pretty much if you just want to do like a general tour for 4 or 6 hours, there's definitely tour operators that can accommodate for that. If you just want to do like 2 hours and then, sorry, just 5 more minutes. And so, sorry, I just got a little busy.
No worries.
But, I think for like land-based tours, you just want to do like just some recreational activities. Maybe just like go for a hike on the trail and maybe a trip up to Petroglyph Beach. That's definitely a great way to go. And then just stop by Front Street and just see what else is there. Just because there's a lot to do here in Front Street. Like wood carving shed, take a trip up to Shakes Island, Nolan Center. You can definitely do that within town. So that's just one of the beauties of it is that if you want to do 4 or 6 hour tours, we can accommodate for that. If you just want to stay within town, there's a lot of activities to do here as well.
Yeah, I think that's something that people don't realize when they find Wrangell is that there is so much to do. I will say I still haven't been to Anan. I've been to Wrangell 3 times, and I think I've just never been there at the right time of year. So that's the excuse I'll give. But again, I need to get back because that's whenever people ask me about it, I'm like, I don't have it because I haven't been. I can't write about it because I haven't been. I know it's amazing. For me, I would say it's Chief Shakes Island. I think that is a really unique experience. There are increasingly experiences like that in some of the other communities in Southeast if you're on a cruise, but it is, I think, particularly an intimate experience in Wrangell that you can't necessarily get. And in quite small groups, tends not to be as, I won't say like mass marketing, because even in Alaska, things are still pretty small groups in general, but it's something that Wrangell offers that I think is truly unique. Okay, we'll do one more question, and you kind of answered this one. I think Sandrine's question was specifically about ice caves, but I wanted to talk about managing expectations of like if you do a Stikine River and you're going up to LeConte, like how close are you going to be getting? And I don't think there are any, but are there any ice caves that you can go explore in the area?
I'll let you go, JR.
Sorry. Unfortunately, no. I don't think there's like really any ice caves to really go into depth and explore within LakeCon or Shakes Glacier. So unfortunately, I had to break the bad news for that one. And for how close you can get to glaciers, I guess it's just like really dependent on the tour operators and their comfortability. There, you might have seen some photos online of like a lady that was able to like touch one of the pieces of LakeCon Glacier. So it just like really depends on like tour operators. So just make sure that you reach out to them and talk about like how close you can get to glaciers, just because it's kind of more of a operator question than kind of more of a general question when talking about glaciers. So I will definitely just reach out to them for more information. But if you do want to go out and experience the LakeCon or even Shakes Glacier, it's definitely a very beautiful trip, and maybe you even get to like touch the ice. So that will be very cool and unique. I was able to like walk on the Stikine River deltas on the flats, and got to go and do some like bird shooting. Well,
Oh,
not like
nice.
bird shooting, but like
camera.
taking
Yeah.
pictures.
Yeah, when I made a face when you were answering, it was because I thought you meant she touched the face of the glacier, which I can tell anyone watching now, you do not get that close to glaciers. Under any circumstances, you don't go near the face of a glacier. Don't do it.
No.
It's not safe.
not a
So
good
touching icebergs, that's fine. I'm down with that. That's cool.
Yeah,
Thank you
it's
for
like this is just like the smaller chunks. I think that's okay, but for like the massive glacier, that's really dangerous.
Yeah.
Going up to the face of the glacier, especially LeConte, it's calving all the time. So, you know, I've definitely seen operators that get really close, but I went with a family friend in his boat, his commercial setup, and we stayed very far away, and I was totally fine with that, and got to see some awesome, you know, calving events, and then also, you know, seals everywhere with their babies, their pups, and of course, if there's a chunk of beautiful blue ice floating, they're going to go over to that and let you view it and, you know, touch it and break a chunk off and put it in your Diet Coke if you want to have some really yummy old
ice.
Old
Yeah.
ice. Yeah.
It looks beautiful.
You're going to have those opportunities, but I
Yeah.
don't think I would be ever comfortable going up to the face of a glacier. And our glaciers are, you know, in water, whereas, you know, Juneau, there are places where you could go into ice caves, which I don't think they recommend that unless you're with a guide, obviously. But we have more water-based glacier opportunities where you're going to be in a boat doing that. So
Cool.
yeah, but I mean, it's
still great.
You'll likely have the opportunity to touch an iceberg.
Yeah. Cool. I will say the funny thing is people don't ever realize when they get the Glacier Rita on their 26 glacier cruise, or, you know, you get the glacier ice. That's really, really old ice there. And it's like traveled through the wilderness to get to you. So there may be a little dirt at the bottom of your glass when you finish, and that's just part of the experience.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, both of you, for joining me. As a reminder for you viewers and or listeners, if you have questions, YouTube is the easiest place to ask those in the comments below the video. Also below the video in the description, you will find links to Travel Wrangell, their social media, the map. You might also have noticed that some little bubbles popped up over the course of the video. Those were helpful links I thought that you could enjoy. So if you're viewing on a device that showed you those, you might want to scrub back and forth to find those. You'll find some articles that I've written about visiting Wrangell, and hopefully that covers everything you need. But again, if not, just let me know in the comments or reach out on social media to me or to Travel Wrangell. I will wrap things up there and just say thank you so much, JR and Jillian, for joining me and sharing your enthusiasm and all the information about Wrangell.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.